Welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be learning about Rappel extensions and tethers. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I am Travis. I am an AMGA certified rock and alpine guide. And today we're going to be going over different Rappel extensions and tethers, how to build them, and what are some of their strengths and weaknesses. So you might be wondering, why do I even need an extension for my Rappel device and a tether? Well, let's start with the tether. Having a separate tether other than the rope allows me to free up the end that I or my partner are tied into so we can thread it through the chains and then be able to go down. This allows me to connect into the anchor so I can free up the rope to pass it through the chains. The other reason I like to have the extension for my Rappel device is it creates some space between my device and my backup so that they aren't interfering with each other. The extension also moves the device away from my body, keeping things like clothing, hair, and even skin from getting stuck in the belay device. Let me show you a few different ways I make my tether and Rappel extensions. One of the simplest extensions are products that are specifically designed for this task, such as this Petzl Connect, or things like a PAS, or personal anchor system, which is just a series of sewn loops that allow you to adjust your tether length and have an extension for your Rappel device. Most of these are very simple to where you can take it, you can girth-hitch it onto your belay loop or through your tie-in points, and many will have an adjustment to adjust the length of our tether for the anchor. But with this, I can clip it in to the anchor. It is locked in or out, depending on the stance. Now, with a PAS, you may have a dedicated loop for the Rappel device. On the Petzl Connect Adjust, I have to make one unless you have the dual connect. So with that, I can just simply tie a clove hitch in the middle of the strand, attach my belay device, and then I'm ready to connect into the rope. Some pros and cons of the dedicated products are they do tend to be one-use tools. They lack versatility, unlike things like a runner. It also means I'm carrying an extra piece of gear that only has that one use. So if I'm trying to go light, it may not be the best choice for me. Some positive things about these is, one, they are very simple. They work extremely well. When I'm using dedicated tethers and extensions, I do tend to keep it off of my working area of my harness, meaning my tie-in points and my belay loop, and I'll generally store it in the back of my harness, out of the way. That also allows me to inspect my belay loop and tie-in points instead of keeping it there all the time. My personal choice for making an extension and a tether are runners. And you have plenty of choices out there on the market: Nylon, Dynex, Edelrid. They all work great. I'll show you a few of the ways that I like to tie mine. One of the simplest methods for this is girth-hitching it to my tie-in points and just tying an overhand knot. With this method, the overhand knot creates a closed loop that is closer to my harness to allow for a place to clip my belay device. With this one, you want to make sure that you only clip one strand below the knot. I would try to avoid clipping a strand above and below the knot, like this, because if you misclip the wrong strands, you may not have it attached to your sling. Some things I like about this setup are it's simple, it is fast, it is easy to tie. I do find the tether to be a little long for my arm length, so it may put me too far away from my anchor without creating slack in the system. The single overhand knot may also be a little tricky to untie after it's been fully loaded. Another favorite of mine is to take the sling and girth hitch it through the tie-in points, making sure to keep the bar tack near the end. And then I will double it over and tie an overhand on a bight with all 4 strands. This method allows me a really clear place to clip my belay device into, and also creates a tether that is a better length for me to where I can still reach the anchor without creating slack in the runner. Another positive thing with this one is because it's a larger knot, after waiting, it'll be a little easier to untie. One downside to this method is that it is a little bit more complicated to tie than just using a single overhand in the middle of the sling. If you happen to be one of the people out there that don't like to girth hitch things to your harness, this next one's going to be great for you, and that's the basket. With this one, I'll take my runner, run it through my belay loop, double it up, and then tie an overhand knot in the middle. And this one, that overhand knot creates a closed loop again, but with 2 strands this time for me to clip my belay device to. Some positive things with this one. One is it gives me double strands on every part of the tether, which some people may like. It is pretty quick and easy to tie and also untie because I have a lot more strands in the knot. A downside for this one for me is the tether is very short, or it might hold me off of the stance that would be the most comfortable. But luckily, with a few modifications, we can come to my favorite method for creating a rappel extension and tether. So my favorite method these days is the offset basket. So just like the basket, I'm going to pass an end through my belay loop, and I'll have these doubled over, but my tether side and my belay side are offset, and I will tie these in an overhand knot. Now I have 2 separate legs here. I have my tether, which I can adjust the length of when I tie that knot, and I have my rappel extension here. This has become my favorite method for creating the tether and extension because it is fast and easy to tie. It allows me to adjust the tether length if I would like to. It creates a clear spot for my belay device, and it's fairly easy to untie after being weighted. And now, one little bonus tip if you are using runners to create your extension. If you use a runner to create your extension and you find that you need to shorten the tether, it's very easy to do so while you're clipped in. One thing you can do is just pull in some extra slack, tie an overhand knot in that tether, and then you've shortened the tether to make it appropriate for the stance and the anchor. I hope that you have found today's video helpful and informative for new ways of creating extensions and tethers. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe so you can get more content like this that'll be coming out soon. If you're looking for qualified instruction or guided trips, be sure to check out my website down in the description. See you all out on the rocks. Should have set up before I started recording. Oh well, learning here. Hopefully that river's not too loud. If it is, that's gonna hose me. Pick a camera, Travis. Which one? Standing on the edge of a cliff untied.